My interest in thanatology started when I began working as a nurse on surgical oncology floor. This was back in the 80s, and that was a time when decision making was more paternalistic. Physicians made decisions for patients, and so I would have patients that would be coming back for chemotherapy, and the nurses could tell that the patient was getting sicker, and we would, want to provide care that was consistent with their wishes, but there was a climate back then of, no, don't talk to them about it. It's the physician knows what to do and when, and that this is better for the physician to make decisions. And that didn't seem right to me. That the sense I was getting from my patients, I remember one patient who had her husband had died of slow death from pancreatic cancer, and she had cancer herself and said, "Oh, honey, I would never want to die the way he died. Is that what they're going to do? I don't want them to keep me alive on machines." And she had written out her wishes on her dinner napkin and asked if I'd give it to her doctor. And it turned out that she ended up, on machines that she didn't want because the doctor was of the opinion that, he knew better than she did what she wanted. And so it sent that idea that we were not thinking as carefully as we should about these kinds of decisions that patients make, that people make at the end of life, and that we could do better in guiding them through that journey, really stuck with me. I ended up going to the Peace Corps, actually, as a way of trying to reconcile. I thought maybe if I went somewhere where we don't have the medical technology that we have, I'll come back and it'll all be resolved and there will be no more ethical quandaries in my mind, and that was not the case. And so I've done hospice work and just work in healthcare settings, I think, will bring anybody to the conclusion that there's some things we do really well, but end-of-life care is something that we don't do as well as we should, and that there's a real effect when that is mishandled, not just on the patient, but on those who grieve the patient's death afterwards. It's really, I see it as a public health issue, that we're depriving people of human flourishing because of how clinicians and the public mishandle death and dying, and that we could do better. The fact that we die is what gives us meaning to our life, that we have limited time left. And the fact that people are abandoned too often or not helped in the way that we can help them is really, it shouldn't happen. And so when you finish the program, you'll be able to have an impact in these experiences. It is literally life and death, and that you see life reflected in death. I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand. I think focusing on death is this negative experience that's depressing, when in my experience, it's been so life-affirming, and I would hope that it become contagious and that you kind of infect someone else with that desire to have others see the same.